Alright guys, so with the Game Awards, we got some new trailers, some new news, all types of good gaming stuff. And I could sit here and talk about the Flute Man or Bill Clinton or any of that good stuff. Let me talk about the trailers for the day, the ones I'm most excited for. So obviously we're starting out with Call of Duty. But, as this trailer says, you've never played raids before. So let's talk about how raids work, kind of what I think they will be, and some new information we have on them. So essentially all we know is it's some sort of co-op player versus AI mode that you need a key to get into that gets you some high level loot and some rewards that are unique to this game mode. That's essentially it. Now, from insinuating based off other games, you can kind of guess what the raid's going to be with some type of boss at the end, I assume. But they're much higher skill gap than all of the other modes in the game. Now, after that, the next day, there's been some new information coming out about these raids, so I'll throw that up on screen now while the trailer is playing in the background, and essentially, all this really tells us is the requirements you need to get the key to play the raid. So, you have to do a daily challenge, whether it's in multiplayer or co-op, who knows what this daily challenge will be. It's probably going to be get some sort of kills with a weapon class, or a certain number of kill streaks, or a certain score, or something of that level, just like the other daily challenges that are in there now. Play within the top 20 of Warzone. Again, this is just placed in the top 20 of Warzone, but the way my skill-based matchmaking has been going, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do that, because typically just land and die immediately is how it's been going recently. And then the final one, and probably the easiest one depending on those daily challenges, is in DMZ to extract with 30k in cash. This one's relatively easy. I don't see this one being a problem unless you're going to go out there and mega chad through your DMZ run. But if you're just trying to get the key as quick as possible, this one shouldn't be too hard. So that's to get the key to play the raid. This gives you a week access to the raid with 3 other friends to give it as many attempts. I assume it doesn't specify that it's locked to one use per key. That would make it more interesting, but I don't think a game like Call of Duty will do that. Again, not much information here, but it's something, an update to look forward to, and this comes out within the next couple of days. Now, of course, everything that's coming out for the rest of the year pretty much is slated within the next couple of days. You have High on Life, this update, The Witcher Remaster, and I want to say something else also comes out between that 12th and 14th window. So a lot's going to be coming out all within the same time. So this will be something that we'll have to check out along with some other new things coming out soon. From here, let's talk about Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Fallen Order. I don't have much to say here. It looks good. It always looked good. They really don't have to change much from the first to the second game. Maybe make the customization a little bit better so it's not just ponchos, and tweak the ship customization. The combat worked fine, lightsaber customization worked fine, the story was good, it looked good, it ran good, it launched good, there were no microtransactions. I want to say I gave this game an 8 or a 9, right? As long as the story still holds up, and again, they maybe tweak those cosmetics and add some new abilities here or there, because that is something when adding onto a game with a sequel, you can't just reset the player, right? You can't just take away force grip and force push and all of the other abilities that they had throughout the game and upgrades and just rehash those into the game and say the character forgot them. You should start the game with some of those abilities, and obviously to introduce the game to new players, you have to progressively get more and more of them as you go on, but there should also be new abilities that weren't in the first one. The only other thing I would add here, and this is a big maybe, is opening the game up a bit more as far as exploration. There was a fair amount of it in the first game and a lot of backtracking if you wanted to collect everything and get all the XP you possibly could, but maybe open it up a bit more, but it has to be done right. If it's not done right and it's boring and dull and a dead open world, then there's no point. There's no reason to do it. It will just turn out bad, and I'd rather it just be more linear than trying to do something that doesn't need to be done. And for the most part, it looks like that's what they're doing, is kind of sticking to that open area gameplay and not so much going open world, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So this is one that I'm excited for. It looks good. I have no complaints so far, no worries. As long as they stick to what they stuck to in the first game, this one will turn out fine. Now, the polar opposite, let's talk about Cyberpunk. So I've had nothing but negative experience with Cyberpunk 2077. My review was bad, right? I don't think I gave the game above a 5. I maybe gave it a 5. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But aside from that, the next gen upgrade, it's not great. Even going back to the game fairly recently, and just aside from the bugs and the launch state of the game and all of that stuff, I didn't like the story that much. I don't like the gameplay still now revisiting it. So really this has nothing positive going for it in my mind, but I was willing to give the DLC another shot. But due to the state of the game and the canceled multiplayer, I assumed that this was going to be a free update. It's not. As far as I know, the last I heard, this costs money. Don't know how much money, but this will cost money. I assume probably $30 if I had to guess. So I'm not really having high hopes for that. But I do want to say, for $30, they do seem to have got one thing right after years of feedback and people trashing on the game, saying how bad it is and giving them criticism and updates and next gen versions and PC ports and mods and all of that stuff, and all of the feedback they've gotten over the year and a half, too, by the time this comes out. They finally, for $30, figured out how to add car chases. Alright, all jokes aside, I will play this and give it a fair review. I'll try to give it a fair shot. But, you know, if it's great, if it's a 10 out of 10, I'm not going to say I'm going to raise my original score of the game any higher, but I'll say the DLC is a 10 out of 10. It is what it is, but this is really all I want to talk about from the Game Awards. There's really nothing else that caught my attention. There's Death Stranding 2, and I played the first one for a bit, but I just have problems with that game that would end up being an hour-long video if I went into, so I don't want to address that or go too much into it just because I didn't play it to completion or review it on the channel, so I don't have too much to say there. I will be doing the best and most disappointing games of the year videos sometime, obviously, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. If you want to leave down in the comments below your list or suggestions, your favorite game or least favorite game, and not the worst game, I want to make that clear. Not the worst game of the year, because there's some game that someone paid for that doesn't even launch. That's the worst game, but the most disappointing game. For example, Saints Row, that's a good one. But those lists will come out at some point. It'll be a bit surprising, I feel like, some of those lists, but it's something for you guys to look forward to. I hope you enjoyed the Game Awards and enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought of Elden Ring winning, what your favorite trailer was. Again, your submissions for those best and most disappointing games of the year. And I'll see you guys on the next one.